The true story behind the Conjuring House in Rhode Island is far darker than the movie because the real Perron family endured 10 years of terror that started with a foul, sickly smell in the cellar. When Carolyn and Roger Perron bought the 18th century farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island in 1971, they had no idea 8 generations of a single family had lived and died there under horrific circumstances, including suicides, poisonings, and unsolved murders. It began on their very first week. Carolyn noticed a thick, rancid odor like rotting meat that would drift up through the floorboards every night at 5:15 a.m. Shortly after the physical hauntings escalated, beds would hover over the kitchen, doors slammed so hard they cracked the frames, and broomsticks levitated across the kitchen. But the most terrifying presence was an entity Caroline identified as Bathsheba Sherman, a 19th century woman rumored to have practiced dark occult magic and rituals on the property. One evening, Carolyn was sitting in a chair in the parlor when she felt a sudden, ice-cold needle pierce her calf. She pulled back her pant leg to find a perfectly circular bleeding puncture wound, as if stabbing by a long sewing needle. When demonologist Ed and Lorraine Warren attempted a seance in the home to cleanse the property, Carolyn became very violently possessed, her chair levitating 6 feet in the air before slamming down onto the hardwood floor while she spoke in a guttural, ancient language. The family couldn't afford to move, forcing them to coexist with the violent entities for an entire decade. The real Perron family stayed in the Conjuring House for 10 years because they simply didn't have the money to move. Would you sleep one night in that house for $10,000? Put your answers down in the comments.